Thanks for joining us today. I'm Gabe Garish, owner of Backwoods Pursuit, and today we're going to take a look at the Kowa 66 next to the Kowa 77, show you some of the differences there and what is going to change with the 66 versus the 77, some of the performance differences as well. As always, really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put a link to both of these down in the description for you if you want to check them out for yourself. Let's get started. Now, I wanted to mention before we get started here that we've only had the Kowa 66 here for a couple of weeks. We've been able to put it next to a couple of spotting scopes and the 77, but certainly have not put it through all of its paces or done our full review and full testing on this. So we just wanted to bring you some initial thoughts after putting this next to the 77, some of the differences here before we go into and do a full review on this thing. All right, so the Kowa 66 here is slightly smaller, obviously, in its objective than the 77. Some of the differences here, the eyepiece that they're using in both of these is identical. So you have the same eye relief, 17 millimeters, the same magnification range of 25 to 60. You do have a weight savings that's pretty significant on the 66. Here is a 10-ounce weight savings, 49 ounces on the 66 versus 59 on the 77. So that's pretty significant. Field of view is identical, 138 feet at 1,000 yards at minimum magnification and 75.5 feet at 1,000 yards at maximum magnification. So everything is identical, other than the biggest upgrade they made with the 66 is the pure fluorite glass in the objective here. So you have a performance increase because of that. Now we're going to throw the phone scopes on here so you can kind of see what the differences is when you are looking through these spotting scopes. So let's take a look now at what they look like through the lens. All right, we've got the phone here. We put an optics chart about 300, 350 yards up the hill so you can kind of see what the difference is when we look through this. The phone is locked out in its settings, so it's not going to change. We've pre-focused both of the spotters here on the same spot. So looking through the 66 first here, you can see a really nice edge-to-edge clarity. There's really no distortion whatsoever. That's one thing I definitely noticed in looking through this, is that there is no loss of clarity as you approach the edges of the 66 here. Field of view again is the same between these two. Now as we move over to the 77, you also have a fantastic image. Again, no real loss of clarity, edge-to-edge clarity, but I did notice it seems as though the 66 has a slightly richer colors because of that fluorite glass. It's not real drastic, but real small change there. It seems like the 66 has a small edge in color contrast and color rendition, but again, really excellent resolution in both of them. All right, now a couple of other small differences that I noticed with these. The 66 is a little bit smaller form factor. It runs about 15.5 inches in length. I measured these myself just to make sure I was looking at this correctly. So 15.5 inches on the 66, whereas the 77 is 16 inches, so about a half-inch difference. Not a big deal, but it is a smaller form factor. Of course, the smaller objective is nice as well. Of course, that weight savings is significant in the 66, and that could definitely push you that way over the 77. But really in the performance category, some things that I noticed, I did some testing earlier in really low light between these two, and the differences that I noticed was that the 66 wasn't quite as good in really low light, even though it has that fluorite crystal. It didn't have quite as good of resolution and brightness as the 77. Because of that larger objective, gives you a bigger exit pupil, it gathers a little bit more light. Now, it wasn't drastic by any stretch, and it's just a small performance difference, but I did think that the 77 was slightly brighter. So take that into consideration. You certainly pay that weight penalty, though, of 10 extra ounces and a little extra bulk. And the biggest thing really is there's quite a big price difference between these two. So what you're paying for in the 66 being that fluorite crystal glass and that lighter weight versus the 77, a little more bulky, a little bit heavier, but you do get a little bit better low light resolution, low light performance. So things to consider. Awesome new scope from Kowa, the 66 here. Definitely one to consider if you're a backpack hunter, if you want to shave some ounces over the 77. So those are my observations between these two. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop those comments down in the comments section, and I'll put links to both of these down in the description for you so you can check them out for yourself. Thanks for watching here today, and we'll see you next time.